Hey, Tamarindo listeners, this is a special 10th anniversary edition of Tamarindo. First, we reflect on a decade of centering Latine voices, our culture, and our commitment to inclusion. We look back at what it was like to record the first episode and how Tamarindo has evolved to be so much more than a podcast. After that, we spend some time with Karen Gonzalez from Karen y los Remedios. This is a band known for blending traditional cumbia with electronic trip hop and lo-fi textures. And this interview was just ahead of their very intimate performance right here in Lincoln Heights, blocks away from Tamarindo's headquarters. So in both cases, you're going to hear a little bit of background noise as the band's team is setting up. And also on this special occasion of the 10th anniversary of Tamarindo, we recorded this at Delsy's house. Delsy was so sweet to interview me about what it was like to start Tamarindo. You're going to also hear a special guest, Delsy's 7-month-old baby in the background. But, you know, it's beautiful and we didn't want him to miss the action, so he's right there with us. To all our listeners, we just want to say thank you so much for your ongoing support of this community. We pour so much love, time, passion into this project, and we do it all because we know that you are out there. So thank you. Welcome to
Tamarindo Podcast.
Hosted by me, Karen Gonzalez, a fitness coach, political nerd, and nonprofit capacity builder.
And me, Delsy Sandoval, a Guatemalan-American licensed therapist and passionate creativity advocate. Together, we're here to uplift our community through powerful conversations with changemakers, creatives, and healers.
Each week on the pod, we talk politics, culture, and personal development. Listeners call Tamarindo the Advocacy and Self-Love Podcast. Vámonos! Let's start the show. All right, welcome to a special episode of Tamarindo because it's in person. And if you hear noises in the background, there's a little tiny baby audience and a kitty.
Yes, so welcome everybody to my home. Welcome. It's nice to have Tamarindo audiences here.
Hi. And this is a special episode because this is an episode to mark 10 years of Tamarindo. So, yay, matraca to Tamarindo.
10 years, Brenda. Can you believe it?
I cannot believe it. Time flies, and it's been really super fun. So,
yeah, I mean, let's talk about that.
Okay. Well, do you have questions for me? I'm ready to answer.
I do. I'm ready to talk about it. I mean, for one, I realized that during the time that you jumped into this, there weren't a lot of podcasters that were Latinas or women really in the space. Like, what was that like for you to jump into a space that you knew wasn't really kind of created for you?
Well, it was so special to start in 2016 because there's sort of like this like cohort of Latino-led podcasts that started that year. But And you know, the original vision of Tamarindo was to be Latinas.
Yeah. It
wasn't the beginning. That wasn't the origins. Like when we actually launched it, it ended up being with Luis and I were the people that started Tamarindo. And so, but either way, it was such an exciting time to enter the space because there seemed to be a blossoming of these sorts of podcasters. And I think a lot of it is in large part to what was happening in 2016. It was then candidate Trump started his stupid election calling Mexican rapists. So there was definitely a need to have an audio space to push back. So that was what was going on. And that was sort of like the reason why Tamarindo started. And it's been so fun. It's been so fun.
And when you think about that, let's talk about that first time that you recorded. The first time, right? Because it's one thing to have the thought and it's a whole other thing to execute this thing. Like, can you remember what it was like the first episode?
Yes. Oh my God. The fact that it's kind of warm today is giving me flashbacks. I'm pretty sure it was another hot day. When Tamarindo started, it was done in a studio. And it was in a studio in Vernon, which is sort of like in the middle of industrial LA. and our first guest was my cousin. And this is like, she's my cousin, but we hadn't spent that much time together. So I was like, is she going to find the space? Is she going to find us? So we were literally recording the intro and the chat and the que pasa, whatever, and not sure if she was coming. And then we're like, oh, she's here. Our guest is here. So literally like without knowing whether we were going to have a guest or not, that was the first recording of Tamarindo. It was just sort of like, a ver qué pasa. And it's sort of been the approach. It's just like, like, of course, we learned a lot along the way, but it's the a ver qué pasa has been the approach to how Tamarindo does everything. It's just like, let's just try it and see what happens.
And I think for those of us that were fans, like myself, prior to joining the show, I was a big fan of the show. It was the primary show that I listened to on my commutes in New York for a long time. And I think it was that ease that appealed to me, that we were talking about these big topics, right? I felt like we were like I was talking to you.
Yes, that's what it, and that's
it was like this parasocial relationship, right? And but it was like easy. It was easy. I'm curious about when you think about all the people that have been on Tamarindo. I mean, we're talking 10 years of interviews.
I know. Oh my gosh.
Like, who stands out to you?
Okay, so I probably should have prepared for this a little bit better, but some things do stand out. Okay, so the era of in the studio down in Vernon, a guest that really stands out is Irene Diaz. So even though the podcast has always been sort of like, or the genesis of the podcast is like, we want to talk about the issues, but always be fun and lighthearted. I think part of it is also culture, and culture is artists, musicians, actors. So Irene Diaz is, first of all, I appreciated that Irene Diaz's team pitched to be on the podcast. So that was like, oh, wow, like someone's noticed us and wants to be on the podcast.
Yeah, we're legit now.
Yeah, so that was super cool. And then she came and we asked her to do a performance, a recording for the podcast. And her voice just, because you've seen her, right? We've done other things with her. It just like filled the room, and it was so magical and special. So that's one guest that stands out from the in-studio era. All right, so a second era of the podcast that comes to mind when Melina Bobadillo co-hosted with me for a short while, we interviewed Raul Castillo from the show Looking. And that was really exciting because I really loved that show. If you haven't seen it yet, great stuff to catch up on. This was like the first gay show. Before there was heated rivalry, there was Looking. And I really appreciated his character. And he's also an actor that like stands up for the community and is involved in lots of stuff. So it was great to have him as well. And then in the more recent stage of Tamarindo, I mean, Dolores Huerta.
I know. That's who comes to mind for me, Dolores Huerta. It was like, I felt almost like I was really present in that moment. And so I have it as a core memory because it was like, I can't believe I'm talking to Dolores Huerta.
And Natalia Lafourcade. I mean,
of course, Natalia Lafourcade, which was a whole experience because we had to travel. We had to go into this building. It was like so cool. And then she was so awesome to talk to. Yeah.
Yes. We've had quite so many exciting moments on Tamarindo.
So many good moments. This part you'll be able to edit out in the background.
Well, it
right?
doesn't matter. We told the listeners there's a baby here.
Okay,
it's no big deal. This episode will be a noisy one because even when we were recording, the guest that we have today, we were recording during sound check, so there was noise. So this is a noisy. This is what Tamarindo on the road sounds like. Okay, not in the studio. Tamarindo on the road for our 10-year episode, 10-year anniversary episode.
Yeah. So a few more questions, before we move on and talking about these 10 years. In the time that you've had Tamarindo, how have you seen the landscape for podcasting and talking about politics in this way kind of shift?
Well, and I think people can sense it from listening to the podcast. I think there's been a moment, we've been in so much heaviness in the first Trump administration. And then we had the COVID and the misinformation. And then we have now, I think there's at least for me, and I think our listeners probably experienced this, and the podcast has reflected this. We are almost like so boggled down by the top politics. Like the politics is always there because everything's political. Yeah. So even if we don't have to, beat you over the head over the issues, just using Tamarindo to show different ways of existing and the value that we add and the culture and the artists and the, queer Latinx money coaches and all of that. I think there's a way to say we add value and we Latino voices are important and our lives matter. There's a way to do that without having to just always be buried in the news cycle, which we know is so tiring. So that's one way that it has evolved, right?
I love that. I love that. And I feel like that in some ways might even have a stronger impact, because people know the issues and they're reading them. And, I know they appreciate our take on it, but what we're doing in terms of really showcasing what we have to value in the culture is so important and so life-changing. My final question to you is, now that you're here and you're looking beyond, because this has gone on for 10 years.
Yes,
and
10 years.
And who knows how much longer, but also the landscape has changed and a lot of people have joined Tamarindo, right? What do you hope to see what is your vision for the future of this kind of medium?
Well, I mean, I should say that one of the other really amazing things that we've been able to do together, you and I, Delsy, is do more of these events. But the most like a truly next level event was the fact that we got, a dozen women and Tamarindo listeners to fly to Mexico with us.
Yeah, that's amazing.
With two people that had not done it before. I mean, I think that shows like the potential evolution of like, it's beyond a podcast, it's a community, it's events, it's how we've talked about this for a while on Tamarindo, like how can we be the best selves so that we could be of service to the community? And so I see continuing to do down that path is like what we can do in addition to the audio space.
Yeah, I love that. And we were just talking about, for example, our Amigas Blossoming event.
Yes,
we have real amigas that lasted way beyond the podcast that I still hang out with, that you hang out with, that we see in the world, real friendships that blossomed from that. And I'm so grateful that
and that was one
happened.
Of your event ideas, which is so beautiful. And as you're saying that, I'm like, oh my God, that's like literally what happened to us, right? We friends online got together, sparked ideas, came up with Encuentro, came up with this blossoming event, and then seeing it in real life. And the reason we're mentioning it, and this is a perfect transition for who our guest is because our guest today is Karen y los Remedios, which is a band from Mexico, and they were in Los Angeles, and Tamarindo was invited to interview Karen. And at the event, I ran into Erika, which is one of the friends that we made through our own events.
Yeah, that has become one of my favorite people, and we hang out all the time. And she's somebody that has introduced me to so much music and culture and has been with me through this whole journey of becoming a parent and everything. And somebody who I came to know because we had this event at this bookstore, which is awesome.
Love. Okay, so with that, why don't we hear from Karen y los Remedios, and we'll come right back. Brenda here from Tamarindo, and I want to personally invite you to join me for our third annual Encuentro, a restorative retreat to Puebla, Mexico, April 30th through May 4th. This is an incredible experience for badass mujeres who need a break. Immerse yourself in Puebla's cultural attractions, build community, and leave recharged with tools to thrive. Perfect if you're seeking renewal and intentional connection in a supportive and uplifting space. The dates are April 30th through May 4th in Puebla, just a couple hours away from Mexico City. Space is extremely limited. We're looking for 8 travelers. And if you bring a friend, you each can save $400. Go to tamarindopodcast.com and find Encuentro from the menu. Once again, that's tamarindopodcast.com and search Encuentro. First, welcome to Tamarindo. That's the name of the podcast. It's so great to meet you.
Yeah, it's great to meet you too. Yeah.
Yes, I'm really excited. I've been listening to you. I seem to almost miss you because you were at Jacumba really like not that long ago. I was right behind, but I missed it. So.
Oh my God.
And now you're here in Lincoln Heights, which is literally a block from my house.
Oh, so. That's perfect. So it was meant to be.
It was meant to be. Yeah. So I'm very excited to get to talk to Karen y los Remedios, Karen from Karen y los Remedios. So briefly, tell us, who is the band? Who are the members? Just give us that quick background.
Well, so the band is basically Hioni, who is on the keyboards, and he's also the producer. Guillermo, who is on the guitar, and me in the voice and composition and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, lovely. Mm-hmm. And I know that your background is in research, right? Your background is not necessarily in music, but now...
Yeah, kind of. Like, it's weird. My path has been... I studied graphic design, but I was always exploring music and other media. And then I started to get interested in a type of art that is called outsider art. Mm-hmm. And then from there, which is basically art made by people with mental illness, or they call them also visionary artists, and people with disabilities or neurodivergent people, but more in the disability spectrum. And then from there, I also started getting into art therapy and stuff like that. And then I wanted to get like more nerd. And then I made a PhD in social work.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was
Doctora.
Yeah, doctora. De tu corazón. Yeah. And then with the music, right? But then it was focused in specifically art made by people with autism and schizophrenia. And at the same time, I was getting deep into the music, right? So I think getting stuck in Mexico during the pandemic, it really helped me to develop more, and also missing Mexico, right? Because the music was always there. And then that's how I got more into music. I have been collaborating with Hyoni since 2010, I think, with different projects or just like whatever. And then finally we did Karen y los Remedios, and I think it was a good decision.
Yes. I love your sound, and I'm really excited to see you. I'm going to come to the show, so I'm going to see you here at Zizu, because this venue, I mean, right now it's daylight, so it doesn't look like I'm about to describe it, but it's sort of like witchy
that's so nice.
and melancholy, and very much similar to the sounds of Karen y los Remedios. So I think it's going to be such an amazing experience to get to see this show here. So I kind of want to talk a little bit about your sound. How did you come to form this sound? I think it's sort of in the genre of dark cumbia, this low tempo. It really creates this witchy mood. That's the word that comes to mind. So how do you describe your sound?
I think it was a very interesting mix, because as I mentioned before, I was really missing Latin rhythms. But before Karen y los Remedios, Hyoni and I made a project. Well, he was producing that. It was Karen. It was like a trip hop EP that we made. It was just like that. It was exciting. It was the most serious thing I did in terms of production. And I think that, and then me missing Latin America, it was what it made Karen y los Remedios, right? So I think it's basically that. And I really like exploring new sounds, and I'm very interested in a lot of alternative sounds, also Asian, outsider music. So I think that's how, right? Because we like dark stuff, but we like also dancing and feeling nice. Yeah, so I think that's how.
Yeah. To me, that's very Mexican, right? The darkness, but always dancing. There's still going to be a riff, and there's still going to be some beats. You keep saying, I was missing Mexico, and I learned this about you, and this is that you lived in China. You've lived in China. And where do you live now? And tell me why do you miss Mexico?
Yeah, right. Like I went first to China to be an English teacher to little children. I know my English is not the best, but it was a good opportunity for me in that time. So it was very isolating. So I really realized about how powerful and how our culture shape us as a person. So I think that's what was very important to me. Then I moved to Hong Kong, which was like a little bit more digestible. And I have been there since first in 2019. Then I came to Mexico for the pandemic. And then for the last 3 years, I have been in Hong Kong and coming and, sometimes for 4 months in Mexico, and then I go back, and let's see what happens.
Wow. Yeah. This is great. And for listeners that are hearing a little bit of background noise, it's the middle of sound check. It's the middle of the venue getting ready. So that's what folks are hearing in the background. Okay. So what is it like to live in Hong Kong? What do you like about it?
I like that it's very safe and it's very convenient. That's what I like the most. And I think also as Mexicans, I think we love soap operas, right? So there, I think people have soap operas in their way, but I think like this very like Asian, like calm, peaceful. I think I have learned a lot from it too, to see things in a different way. Also missing what I like about my culture, but I think, this Zen attitude, for sure, I don't think I will never get there, but I think there's something from the culture that really permeates to my soul somehow. But yeah, I really like in general, Southeast Asia. Hong Kong is nice for now, but I think I need to explore the next step.
Yeah. Okay. So there's this calmness about it that really calls to you.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I want to talk about a couple of your tracks. So
Yeah.
there's one that I really enjoy, Permanencia, and I especially love the DJ Chihuahua remix version of it. So describe this track for us.
Well, Permanencia, it's a little bit of trip hop, you know. So when DJ Chihuahua told me he made a remix, I never imagined that it was gonna be about Permanencia, you know. It blew my mind, like, wow, how you did it, you know. And I think it's really nice because it has like a very special type of cumbia, and I think it really connects with sonideros. And right now, somehow, a lot of truck drivers are listening to it. You know, in TikTok and all, and in Instagram, I found these videos of truck drivers, you know, melancholic in the night.
I love it. I was just thinking about that melancholy. I mean, they're away from their families. They're doing these long distances. It's probably late at night. I can see why it calls to them.
Yeah, it's so nice. So I'm very excited about it. Like and it's doing very well. We didn't imagine because we didn't have support of anyone, you know. It was like something, you know, that we were chatting on Instagram, and then suddenly, it came very, very nicely.
Very organic, it sounds like, these collaborations, these remixes. Okay, I want to talk about another remix.
Yeah.
So I love both versions of Las Muchachas, the original and the Mexican Institute of Sound version.
Yeah.
Talk to us about this track.
Well, like, I was very, like, brave, you know, when I was, like, sending messages like, oh, would you like to make this remix? And then he made it, and it was so nice. And then also, it was, like, a good conversation. And also, he asked us to make a remix, too, for one of his songs. And it's coming out soon, and I'm very excited. Yeah. So I really like his work, and I admire his work since I was young, because I studied in Guanajuato, right? And we have Cervantino. I don't know if you have heard about that festival.
I have heard of it, yes.
Yeah. And I came to see him in Cervantino, like when I was 18, you know? So for me, it's like a dream come true, you know? Like listening to Las Muchachas, you know, because he has a song that is called Las Muchachas. And then I was like, I will give him Las Muchachas, you know, because it's like
such a full circle.
Yeah, full circle. So it's very, very lovely, and it has a very nice symbolic meaning, and the job he did was great.
Tell me more about Las Muchachas. Like, the video is, I like the idea of just women coming out and hanging out together.
Yeah.
And just like nice to each other, and like the softness that you feel when you hang out with your girlfriends. Tell me more about like this, what you were aiming for with this song.
I think it was that, and it was also like a little bit of, you know, like when you're a little bit like drunk, and then you're even like a little flirty with your friends, you know? You're a little bit like bisexual, you know? Like it has some certain type of vibes, you know? But I think it's more like this like power. It really reminded me about the nights I had when I was in Guanajuato, you know, like everyone is super artsy, and then maybe someone come and hug you, and someone gives you a kiss, and nothing, you know, it's like you know, we're girls, like we change in front of each other, like we put makeup to each other, but we also get drunk, you know. So it's more like that. It's not that I'm trying to say that getting drunk it's like a part of being, but it reminds me to my young self.
I mean, everything you're saying speaks to me, because literally in this restaurant right there in that corner right there, many of my girlfriends, we get together, we have something called the wine cult.
Oh, that's
we love
so
to
nice.
drink wine, but we it's like this magical, bewitching spark that happens when you hang out with your girlfriends. And so I think that video and the song kind of captures that.
Yeah. And actually, like, it wasn't our intention, but in that video, you know, some of my friends, especially some Asian friends, they were super shy about dancing, you know, just in general. So they were like, I need to drink, So we were like drinking for the video shoot because they were like not professional. They were like my friends,
Well,
like
they really convey. I thought they were hired because they were
no,
looking
they
at
were
the
my
camera.
friends. So it was like, we get some drinks, and then at the end, it was magical because we finished shooting and they were like super into it and we were dancing. Then the police came, because we were super noisy, and so it was like it meant to be. It was like the vibe of the song, the vibe of the video, and then finally it became what it was the song about. So it was super lovely.
I love that. That really captures it. Okay, so lastly, I mean, you've been on tour. You're about to perform here. Like, what are you most excited about this performance coming up and just being out on the road?
Well, we love Los Angeles and how the audience is here. It's super, super nice. But what I like the most, I think last year it was a very big concert. And then now it's more like an intimate, like a meet and greet stuff. So I really want to hang out. And that's the most exciting thing for me. Because now that we are getting to do bigger and bigger shows, the small shows are very, very nice. I think there's another type of connection. When I'm in stage, I really like seeing people faces. And when it's a big venue and it's dark, I just see the front and I cannot even hear what's going on. Last show in Mexico City, I had in-ears, and then my friends told me, "Adrian, did you listen? There were some people singing the songs." And I was like, I didn't, because I was, a little bit, because I saw some mouths, but I didn't get the sense of how big it was. So that's the most important thing for me tonight, just to get to feel. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Well, thank you so much, Karen. This was
you're
wonderful.
welcome. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we are back.
Yes, we are going to go right into our matracas. I will get started. Let's talk about something I have not talked about on the show, which is, guys, in Los Angeles, there are tar pits. Okay, stay with me. Stay with me. If you're a science person, if you're a nerdy person, stay with me. This is a major metropolis, a major city, and you can walk around this city and there is dark tar coming out of the ground. We're trying to put a Staples here. We're trying to put a Chase Bank here. And there's like tar bubbling up from the ground. I mean, we're talking from the Ice Age.
I had no idea. So it's not just the museum. It's literally all around.
Over this neighborhood, all over the city. And it's unbelievable because I think it's one of the only cities where this is the case. We're talking about history not allowing itself to be buried. Right here where Brenda and I are sitting right now, there were mastodons, saber-toothed tigers, woolly mammoths, giant sloths that literally lived and ate and existed and had a whole world right where we are standing. And the remnants of them just bubble up from the ground as I'm walking around.
You see it.
I see it. It's on people's sneakers, right? And I can't believe that we're so lucky in this city that we get to have a real thread to the past. And so if you want and you're interested, go to the La Brea Tar Pits Museum, and they have the actual bones that were found in the neighborhood there. I mean, wow. It's mind-blowing.
And you can walk to it, which is amazing.
Matracas.
So matracas to
the Ice Age. To the Ice Age kind of bubbling up to the surface in Los Angeles.
I love. Okay, so my matraca, I have two. One is we just had a fabulous time together. I made my vision come true, which is to get a bunch of women together to just sing karaoke. And we made a bomb-ass playlist. I mean, we should have made a bomb-ass playlist, but if I was to make a bomb-ass playlist from the songs that were sung, it would be great.
Yes. You know what? People understood the assignment.
Yes.
There was no communication, and yet everyone knew what we were going to do, which was 90s singer-songwriter angsty songs.
We had our own Lilith Fair. Yes, right. Lilith Fair in K-Town. So matraca goes to like girls, listeners, gals, boys, whoever is listening. If you have a dream of getting your friends together and it's so hard to like get their buy-in, just plan it yourself. They will come. If you build it, they will come.
So many of us went. I was really impressed.
And the moms were out, so that was impressive.
There were 3 of us. That's a lot.
Yes, it was really cool. So Matraca goes to that. But the other Matraca is I just came back from a cool event, is the Latino Media Consortium. This is an event by past Tamarindo podcast guest, Lucy Flores, who also runs Luz Collective, Luz Media. Anyways, she is at the helm of this organization that's been raising money to make sure that Latino stories are told by us, for us, and the stories that matter to us. And the organization is less than 9 months old, and she's already raised $1 million.
Wow.
And she's got an ambitious goal, but if you got to witness the plan that I got to witness, and in fact, we'll put the link of this episode in the show notes. She was a guest on Tamarindo to kind of explain this vision. You'll realize that she's going to do it, like with our help, of course, with everybody, partners and others that are involved. But her tenacity and her passion for making sure that Latinos get their fair share of investments, Latino media gets its fair share of investments, we're going to get to it because of people like Lucy and the folks that the army of people that she's put together for it.
I'm so excited for that. I want to learn more about that.
Yes.
Okay, what goes in the basura this week? I will start. I'm going to take a page out of your book, Brenda. It's something silly. Ceiling fans.
Okay.
Let's discuss. So it's getting hot. It's getting hot in LA. And am I the only one that thinks every time I pull that string on that ceiling fan that it's coming down and that's it? It's over for me.
Oh, there's a little fear?
Yes, there's fear of the ceiling fan because you're pulling it and it's got this like very old school way.
Yeah, it's like,
like you're like pulling it and it's going
down
fast and it's on the ceiling and I'm thinking, is this dangerous? So basura to the ceiling fan. I think what we need is like a button. We need some kind of netting device.
So the ceiling fan pull down device.
The pull down methodology is terrifying.
Yes. Okay. Basura to that. Okay. So along those veins, like along the same line. Is that the expression? Along the same line. I am terrified of escalators. Basura to escalators. Every time I'm about to get on an escalator, I have to think about it. I
didn't know that.
I'm terrified of escalators.
We've been to the Mexico City airport together.
I'm afraid of escalators. So I always think I'm about to die the minute I'm about to get on an escalator. So I guess basura to that fear. I think both of us are having these irrational fears.
Is it irrational? I mean, I guess so. I guess so. I'm having a moment of realization in real time.
So cute. Okay, last question.
Inspiración. Let's talk about inspiración. So I want to talk about, everybody's, if you're interested in movies, if you like directors, then you know about catching up for the Oscars. So I've been trying to catch up for the Oscars. Crying a lot, guys. Crying a lot.
Did you watch Hamnet?
No,
yet?
I couldn't do it. I can't.
Cry.
I had to, because I just had a son. I can't watch it.
Oh gosh, yes.
And I know it's going to be the best. But I watched Blue Moon. This film, Blue Moon, and I have to say, inspiración for the character acting from Ethan Hawke, which blew my mind. I have seen Ethan Hawke a million times, right? If you watched all of Richard Linklater's movies, he's like in everything. I've never seen Ethan Hawke like be anything other than Ethan Hawke in a movie, to be fair. And I watched this film, and he plays this lyricist called Lorenz Hart, and he completely disappears into this character.
Is this where he's bald?
Yes.
Okay.
And
yeah. Unrecognizable.
And the entire thing takes place in one set in a bar. And this guy has an epic night in a bar, and there's a lot of dialogue. It's really, really interesting and good. But Ethan Hawke, there came a moment where I really forgot that I was watching Ethan Hawke, and it just was so beautiful. It's really about this one kind of made up night for the person who co-wrote Blue Moon. Blue Moon. We all
that's what it's about. Oh my gosh. Okay, I gotta watch it.
Right.
I gotta watch it.
It is fantastic. It's fast. It's hard-hitting dialogue, and it there's so many themes. But really, Ethan Hawke, you blew me away. And from what I read, because then I binged. I read all these articles. My son's doing raspberries in the background. I read all of these articles, and Richard Linklater talked about how he on purpose gave Ethan Hawke the hardest time because he wanted to make sure that you couldn't see Ethan Hawke in any scene. And honestly, delivered. Beautiful. Watch it. It was fascinating.
Okay, I'm adding to my list of things to watch. Love it. Okay, my inspiración, short and quick. We had a fabulous conversation today with our Encuentro travelers. Gonna be super amazing group of women. I just want to do another plug, y'all. We have room. We have room. I also want to acknowledge that I think everybody observed what happened about a week ago. There was a lot of scary news coming out of Mexico. And look, what happened is not normal. As folks know, there was a reaction to a cartel leader dying. And so cartel wanted to show its force, and they had organized arson is what it was. Organized arson in select cities and closing down roads. And of course, that is not normal and that is scary. There was also I think there was maybe one casualty or very limited casualties. It was more of a show of like, look at what we could do. We could close down roads. It only happened in some select cities in Mexico. Some cities were in lockdown. And I know that definitely puts a fear on people thinking about traveling to Mexico. So I just want to acknowledge that moment and invite everybody to be mindful in how we share and distribute the news. From all accounts of people in the impacted regions, the next day, it was about cleanup. It's about getting back to normal. It's the other thing that I'm aware of is that the Mexican government was also very organized in their response and to try to get things, to not go to the scale that it could have been. So we're, of course, monitoring all that situation. But all that to say is that I'm still very inspired to go to Mexico, to go to Puebla and Mexico City, not at all impacted. And these are the region that we're going to. So that's it. Just want to invite you all to still consider coming, please. And if you have any questions at all, you can contact me and I will be happy to talk to you about Encuentro. So yeah, I think that's our 10-year anniversary episode, Tamarindo on the road.
Congratulations. I just want to say, it has been such a beautiful honor for me to be a part of the show for the past, I don't even know how long I've been on the show now, 2-3 years. I don't know, but it has been such a bright spot in the history of my life. And so thank you, Brenda, for, creating this show, for all of the hard work that you put into the show, because I don't know if people realize the level of commitment that you have to Tamarindo that is inspiring for me and for everybody. So thank you as a listener and also for this opportunity to be here on the show with you.
Yes, thank you so much, Delsy. I love it. Y'all, ponte un suéter.
Y saludos a la familia, everyone.
Tamarindo Podcast is hosted by Brenda Gonzalez and Delsy Sandoval. We're also the show's executive producers. Jeff Ricards wrote our theme song, and Sonoro Media's Karina Riverroll provides production support. If you like what you hear, please take a few minutes to rate and review Tamarindo Podcast or share this episode with a friend. It really helps us grow. To get in touch with us, find us at tamarindopodcast.com. Thank you for listening.